Are you relocating to Boston for a new job? I help relocating buyers all the time find their new home in Boston and help them get established with their new life. But some people have no idea where to start. In this video, I'll give some tips on what to consider before you're moving and what to expect once you're here. Hope you enjoy. I'm Jane. I'm a realtor in Wellesley, Massachusetts, and my channel is all about helping people get settled in Greater Boston, find out what different towns are like, what to expect to ease your family's transition. So please subscribe, and if you're thinking of moving here, please reach out. So here are some considerations before your move. The number one thing I would consider is commute. Where is your new company? How far are you willing to drive or travel by train or commuter rail or bus? Greater Boston is very densely settled, so a commute of just 10 or 15 miles could take you up to an hour. So it's important to understand what your personal appetite is for traffic and commute. You want to consider your distance from the airport, from the major roads around Boston, from the Pike to 495. And even if you are working from home a couple days, more and more businesses are going back at least a few days a week here in the summer of 2023. So it's something to consider. We do have excellent public transportation as well. We have commuter rails that come from all the way from Worcester, even in Western Mass, to Boston. But again, it's important to consider what station you need to end up in and how long you're willing to travel. The next consideration is your size of your community. We have great little towns like Dover of 6,000 people, right next to towns of like Needham, which have 30,000 people. So what is your vibe? Do you want a bustling downtown with lots of restaurants and shopping? Or are you okay with a very small downtown and traveling over 10 minutes to get to the grocery store, for example? And all of these communities are like that within 15, 20 miles of Boston. Most people who are coming here are highly concerned about our public schools. We do have very highly ranked schools. Massachusetts has the #1 ranked public school system in the country. And some of the schools can be small and some can be quite large. So again, that's a very personal consideration for your family. One of the things that draws people to Greater Boston too is our exceptional support of special education. Massachusetts mandates that towns provide special ed for any student that needs it. However, the funding is up to the individual town. So if you do have a child with special needs or special education concerns, please feel free to reach out for a private conversation, as I'm happy to be a resource for you. The next consideration would be about your housing in particular. What's your price range? What size house do you want? Again, ties into your commute. How far are you willing to travel to get more space? What size lot are you looking for? Are you okay with kind of a postage stamp that just has a little area to sit and neighbors all around? Or are you looking for a couple acres and a little more peace and quiet? In all areas around Boston, we have some really old housing stock. We also have lots of new construction, but are you willing to consider an antique? You might be surprised to know that some of our older homes do not come with central air conditioning, and they don't come with a garage. Here is an example of an older home that sold for top dollar without central air conditioning. 21 Windsor Road is in a beautiful neighborhood near the Wellesley Country Club, and it's on over half an acre of land and just oodles of charm. It's on a beautiful street with large, gracious homes everywhere from $2.5 to $5 million. And as you can see, it has this really puny garage that's detached. And this had a lot of really nice things about it. Some people might want to do some updating. I absolutely love this style, so I was having a really good time. I showed it to a buyer, but they weren't quite ready to pull the trigger. But as you can see, a nicely updated kitchen with a beautiful oversized wolf range, nicely tiled, tasteful lower cabinets are a nice gray. Very pretty house. So lots of nice updates. Detail on the ceiling. So this is from 1913. So it has nice high ceilings, which are of course, everybody wants, but it had a non-traditional floor plan. I have buyers coming from other parts of the country and they'll say, "What is this?" That is a radiator with a radiator cover. It's a terrific source of heat. It can be a gas-powered boiler, and they are cast iron. So this one has a decorative cover, but they take up space. So I have found a lot of younger buyers want to just rip them out and put in forced air. So here you can see that there's a radiator under the window seat, which has a great place to sit in the winter because it's nice and cozy with a cushion on your window seat. Again, nice detail on the ceiling, beautiful molding around and mantle around the fireplace, which is wood burning. You'll still see a lot of wood-burning fireplaces and then also gas fireplaces. It's even in our new construction, you might see a mix of both. And here's a beautiful library with mahogany trim around the windows, and then nicely updated baths. So lots of charm, lots of slanted ceiling, and you can see these are old windows. And again, they're just as efficient with a good storm as newer windows, but not everybody wants to have these windows which are a little more challenging to clean and maintain. And this is the third floor. A lot of times in these older homes too, you'll see instead of a basement playroom, they'll have a playroom on the third floor. And here we are in the lower level. So this was like a partial basement that was kind of a walkout. So it had really nice light, but technically this is the lower level. So obviously someone made it into a really cool, funky office space. And the laundry's in the basement for $2,565. And I'm guessing this home closed a little under that, but we should know in a couple of weeks. But because it had this fantastic location, good proximity to the center of town, and was so brimming with character and charm that people are willing to accept some of those inconveniences that other buyers who prefer new construction might not want to consider. So time will tell. So if you want to know what this one closed for, give me a shout and I'll let you know. So this was on for $2,565. So I'm going to give you an example of another home that is under contract in a similar price range that was listed by my colleague, the Joni Shore Group at Douglas Elliman. So this home was on an in-town location on a really large lot, considering it's walk to the train, walk to the grocery store. It had 5 beds and 7 baths. It was 4,500 square feet. It was built in 2018, and it was listed just under $3 million, and it is gorgeous. So this had multiple offers because there is a demand for new construction that you can walk to train, town, restaurants, schools. From this neighborhood, you can walk to the elementary, middle, and high schools, and people do value that lifestyle. This home also has absolutely stunning finishes with these gorgeous built-ins and this beautiful ceiling. So these finishes definitely kept that price up. I want to show you this gorgeous kitchen with the double wall oven and the very tasteful cabinetry. That's a small island. If somebody wanted to, you could definitely make a bigger one, because here it looks a little more normal sized. And again, nice tall ceilings, oversized windows in the bedrooms, gorgeous bath with a nice jet tub, big closet, and here's a beautiful laundry room. So this is on the second floor. So this is a more traditional new construction, which I really consider new, that's been built since 2015. Beautiful mudroom. So this is really designed for how we live. Lots of photos too. So if this has a nice cedar closet. So if you'd like to hear the final price on this one, give me a shout, because this one I can find out before they close. Then as you can see, it has a really nice deck and gorgeous grounds with stonework and quite a lot of privacy for this close to town. Now, of course, I can find you examples in different price points too, but I just thought this was really interesting to find such extremes between $2.5 and $3 million in Wellesley right now. Now that we found the right community for you, and maybe it's Wellesley, my hometown, and now you have some idea of what can you expect from your community. So I'm going to share some examples of my hometown, my favorite, Wellesley. And one of the things that I love to do with my relocating families is help you get connected. So if you're moving here and you have children under 8, I am going to highly recommend that you look at the Wellesley Mothers Forum. It's a social organization for moms with kids up to age 8, and there's subgroups for everything. Sometimes it's hard to find time to get connected when you have young children and a busy job. So the Working Moms group gets together at times that work for your schedule. And I found that as a great support when my kids were little. There's all kinds of special subgroups too, like moms of kids with special needs. And then there's also fun things. Something just went by with an invitation to a Frosé summer party and outdoor Pilates. They also have monthly lectures with an educational component like kindergarten readiness. So anything you can think of that's mom related. And they do sometimes have social events that they include the dads. But but generally we left them home with the kids and this was our thing. If your children are in elementary school, you're going to find that your elementary school is going to give you your community. There's very active PTOs at all 7 of our elementary schools and the middle school and the high school, actually. And that is where you can make some really great connections. If your kids are a little older, it is much more difficult to get connected, and you might have to work a little bit harder if your kids are middle school and older. There are, however, lots of options. There's a newcomers club, and there's lots of town boards. If you're into volunteering, you can join. For example, I'm a member of Sustainable Wellesley, which is a terrific community group committed to educating and improving our sustainability as a community. That's a great way to get connected. And if you're in other towns, check some of my other videos where I have some specifics about options for getting connected in other communities. So what's it like to live here? What can you expect from the people? If you've been listening to me at normal speed, you've probably already figured out that we talk really fast. I know my friend from Georgia had told me, he said when he first moved here, he had to really concentrate. He could have asked me to slow down, but he didn't. His wife said to me she couldn't believe how much weather we have and how varied it is and how many different types of boots and coats she needed. But that might have just been an excuse to go shopping. You'll also notice that we're a highly educated population. Usually people are relocating here for a career move, and you're going to find that we value education as a community. There's lots of great schools in Greater Boston. A lot of people who move here to go to school end up staying. Then we'll have a lot of executive type people in finance, in high tech. So there's a lot of people here who went to Harvard. So that's a little bit more kind of typical of what you're going to find here. But don't worry, not everybody has advanced degrees. My husband and I have done just fine, and we have college degrees, but you do find it's a very highly educated population, and people are very motivated and intense. So here's some ideas about things to do. One of the great things about living in Massachusetts is our beautiful, fantastic weather and green space and rivers and mountains and skiing and hiking and swimming and going to the beach. And if you check out my next video, I'm going to give you 5 examples of great weekend getaways if you live in Greater Boston. So there's lots of places right in Wellesley or the other surrounding towns where you can walk with your dog or hike. And there's also places within just an hour that you can get a real vacation. Many of our towns have terrific retail therapy. We have lots of great shopping, lots of restaurants. We have a fantastic mall in Natick and Framingham, from a Nordstrom, any kind of store that you can think of. And of course, there's also fabulous shopping and dining in Boston proper, which if you're going on a Saturday evening, can be 20 to a 30-minute drive. You can hop on the train and go to the Red Sox. So lots of fun things to do here. I hope that has helped if you're relocating to Greater Boston. So if you have any specific questions, please reach out, as I'd be delighted to help you. And remember to subscribe so you can catch my next video about options for weekend getaways from Greater Boston. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.